publicly say thank you to Pastor for allowing me this privilege. He's amazing. He just made me cry introducing me. But one of the privileges I've always considered that come with being a pastor's child is I have had the honor of standing in front of a congregation and saying exactly what my parents have meant to me, who they really are. Because all you really see sometimes is just their public persona, but children really, really know who they are. And they've always made it very, very easy to do that. So I say thank you to Pastor and Karen, first of all, for allowing me one more time to stand and say what's on my heart. And I didn't bring any notes, and I'm kind of dangerous when I start talking, so anything could come out of my mouth. But my husband has said, I can't tell you how many times over the year of our marriage, one whole year, that marriage is an earthly example of a heavenly reality. It's an earthly example of a heavenly reality. Jesus looked down. He saw us in all of our not good stuff. Right. He saw us first and he loved us. Right. Then secondly, he chose us. Yeah. And then thirdly, he laid down his life for us. So before we can have a good marriage, we first have to see and love what we see. It's as simple as that. And then the second thing we have to do is choose. And sometimes loving what we see and then that first choosing is the easiest thing we do. But to make a marriage really good, we have to lay down our my life, what I want my life to be, what I want I to be, to create a we, a strong we. And so we are like Christ in a marriage in that we first love and then we choose and then we lay down our life. As a child of Brother and Sister Kershaw, I'm old school, I still say brother and sister. I've witnessed them have Ephesians 5 or Christ-like love for 58 years. The first version I had was their love for me. It's, as any parent, it's unconditional. I never walk in the back door of their home or exit the back door of their home that I don't say thank you, God. That I still have this tangible, warm, safe environment, this blanket that wraps around me and loves me, and this security. And God, help me the day that you choose to take it from me, that I have the strength and the courage to walk forward. The second version of their love has been their love for each other that I've watched. I've watched them walk through dark times and turn around and still choose. I heard a lady say one time, every day I choose my husband. I choose my husband every day, because long after all of the glow is gone, we still choose, just like Christ still chooses us. We choose our spouses. So I've watched them choose each other in dark times, in sad times. All marriages have the dark times. They choose each other. They lay down their I want this, I want that, this doesn't feel good, and chose each other. The third way in which I've watched them is the way that they treated their parishioners, the way they loved their parishioners. They pastored, I think, 3 churches, and I watched them love and care for. And I can honestly say, for those under the sound of my voice that were part of their flock before Pastor and Karen, I have to tell you that every Sunday she worries, was so-and-so there? I haven't seen them in a while. I hope they're doing okay. She prays for you all. She loves you. And if, under the sound of my voice, you're all the ones that were easy to love. But there were people that came along that chose to wound, chose to be hard, disappointed, made them sad. What would yourself say? What would I say? I would say, I don't want to love you back. But I watched my mom lick plenty of envelopes as she sent cards, happy birthday cards, money. I just thought of you today cards to people who had wounded. I can honestly say before God and everybody here, I never have seen her turn her back on anyone, both the wounding, the people who wounded her, and the people who have loved her. What an example. Right. What an amazing life example. And fourth, I'm glad Daniel's not here today because I'd also like to talk about Daniel. Probably the greatest example of Christ-like love is a little skinny 5-year-old that walked into their lives. They were in their 50s. I don't know what age that was. Skinny 5-year-old. The words that he knew were words none of us should know. He had a vocabulary of maybe cat, monkey, dog. I don't know, not much. He didn't know what a football was. He didn't know what a cow was. He didn't know what a chicken was. He walked into our lives. Mother wrapped him up in her arms and took him home. Now, granted, we didn't know what we were taking home. I'll give you that. I'll have to give you that. We didn't know what we were taking home. But it took us 5 years. At age 10, he came at 5. At 10, the school sent him to Children's Medical Hospital to be evaluated. In that week of evaluation, he was in a straitjacket and he was in a padded cell. His nerves were so shot. He had cigarette burns on his body, had been abused, terribly abused. And come to find out, it's the first time I heard the term fetal alcohol. His mother had drank heavily and consumed many drugs while she was pregnant with him, which destroyed his ability to reason. Yeah. And he gave him a mild form of retardation. So I'll tell you what this means. I'll put it real simple. It means you can go stand over and beat your head against that wall over there as many times as you want, but you will never be able to get through to Daniel. He doesn't understand consequences. If you're ever bored sometime, you have to look up the definition of fetal alcohol. I'm not here to talk about Daniel, but what I am here to talk about is a Christ-like love that looks down and says, "You're not fun. You're pulling my hair out as I'm driving down the road. I have scratches on my arm. I have bruises on my arm. But I choose to love you. I choose to love you." Mom has told me, I think after that evaluation, at least 2 or 3 doctors came to her and said, "Mrs. Kershaw, let me explain this to you. People that have flesh and blood born into their home like this have to let them go. We strongly encourage you to take this child, go down to the state hospital, drive up and put him in their arms and say, 'This child has been abandoned.' Because Mrs. Kershaw, you can't do anything for this child." Truth is, we'll never graduate from getting calls that say, "Daniel's here, Daniel's there, Daniel's done this, Daniel's done that." Long ago, I think we came to the conclusion that God is sovereign. He loves Daniel far greater than we could love Daniel. He knows and he cares. But my parents will go to their grave still worrying about never graduating from somebody calling. Consequently, John and I will walk that road too, because I'm not going to see that my parents' dream and vision for his life doesn't continue. Why? Because exampled in my life was, I choose you. You're not fun, and you're nothing but trouble if you just look on the outside. But I choose you. You know, in life, we all have a life film that at the end, I guess I'm 58, and so I got me a film. Some of you are at the beginning of your film, and your parents pretty much have a whole lot to do with the theme of that film. Some of it's good, and I'm convinced that the bad part is actually the part that strengthens us and gives us our best character. Yeah. But there's no question, the overriding theme, there's an overriding theme in all of our films, and the overriding theme in my life film has been, I choose you, I love you, no matter what. I love you. I am so thankful and so grateful for that example. And if there's no child gets to choose, first of all, do I want to be born? Nobody gets that choice. And we certainly don't get to choose who our parents are. But if I could go back to 0, and God could say, Susan, of all the people you've met, all the people you know in your 58 years, who would you choose to make your life film? And I would say, I choose Alice Scott and John Kershaw. I love you. Happy anniversary.
Of my life, very much of it. And I will say we've had 60 good years together, my husband and I. We traveled the world together. We've had our ups and downs in life, but we still love each other. We're still together. We're hanging in there. And we have spent over half of our 60 years right here in Richardson with you good people. And we appreciate you very much. You've been so good to us. Your kindness, your generosity, in so many ways, you've been so good to us. We appreciate it. And I love you, and I thank you, and I thank you, Susan, for your beautiful words. And God has given us a wonderful son-in-law. He's a jewel. And first of all, though, he gave us our wonderful pastor, is George and Karen. I don't generally say George. It's very hard for me to do it, but anyhow, and the Lord gave us them, and they've been wonderful. And the church has grown, has flourished under them, and we appreciate it. We love it, and we appreciate everything that they've done here and what they do for us. They have been wonderful to us. I don't think anyone has ever. I don't think any pastor has ever been better to a former pastor.